Hey guys, so today's video is going to be quite a deep one, which I've been thinking about filming for quite a while, literally since I started my YouTube channel, but I've always really wanted to make a video encompassing everything that's happened to me so that when someone watches it they can really be suffering and get help from it, or at least really educate themselves. I used to have anorexia bulimia with an exercise addiction, and this is going to be my story and my recovery of how I wouldn't say I'm fully over it now, but you know, I'm better than most people, to be honest, in this diet-obsessed society we live in. I just kind of want everyone to know that they're fabulous as they are, no matter what size, shape, skin colour, appearance, sexuality, whatever it is, you're fabulous just as you are and you never need to change. So we'll start there. For me, it all kind of started when I was, I'd say, 15, and basically, you know, you're constantly comparing yourself to the media and what's on TV, and I was also kind of sexually confused around that time, and I was discovering that I really liked men, and there's this friend, I don't know if you watched my videos but whatever, school, who I was friends with, who I started fancying quite a lot. The thing in me I've realised when I fancy someone, it's kind of like an obsession. Scorpio Venus. Yeah, I just think about them all the time and I really want to be friends with them, blah 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 blah. And for me, I thought, well, how can I really grab his attention so that he can't say no? And first of all, I want to make very clear, it's not his fault at all that I got an eating disorder. It's completely my fault and society's fault for making me think that in order to appeal to someone and be more attractive, I have to look like the society's ideal with, you know, for a man is to have muscles and abs and all this kind of rubbish. And so that's what I went and did. I went and started working out every single day. I started really cutting out all foods that I enjoyed, to be honest. And yeah, and also I started not eating as much as well. So yeah, it all kind of started around end of 15, trying to impress this guy, and obviously people realised that I'd lost a bit of weight and seemed to have toned up a little bit or whatever. So I started getting praised for it, and I was like, oh, that, you know, this feels really good now. Everyone's noticing. You know, nobody can say anything because I'm like the hottest thing in the world, whatever. But obviously, it was all just to impress someone. So yeah, it just kind of just progressed more from there. I started getting really obsessed with food. Started really thinking about what I'm going to eat, and obviously because I was really restricting myself, I then started a good few months into doing that. I started binging, and then I'd be feeling really guilty about it, and then I'd be like working out for like 4 hours the next day to try and make up for it. And then I was going to school as well, all this rubbish was happening. At first it kind of felt weird because I felt like I was doing something really good for myself, and it kind of gave me some kind of like confidence and some, I don't know, self-worth. So yeah, basically long story short, after secondary school, I ended up basically just messaging this guy and being like, oh, you know, I have feelings for you, and he was just like, oh, really sweet, really cool. But I can't exactly fully remember, but basically he's straight, so all my efforts of like trying to change myself and trying to look like really desirable, turned out he's straight. And even if he wasn't, and he was into me, and if he was only into me for my body, then he's not really into me, is he? So it'll never work out long term. So, but yeah, so what happened, I ended up just getting worse and worse. I think because I was so obsessed with this guy, I felt like I was in a relationship with him, so when he said that, it kind of like really just smacked me across the face. So I got even more, a bit messed up really with eating, I would say. When I went to college after, because in the UK you have secondary school, I guess high school, and then you have college. So when I was in college, like the first year, I remember I kind of got a bit better, because obviously how am I going to know, how am I going to get help, because nobody really knows anything about it, right? Ended up basically binging on loads of food, and then I was like, oh, why don't I throw up? It's 2014, I was 16 now, so for like a good year of being like how I was, and then this just made it like 10 times worse. It was when we went to Canada on holiday, and when I came back is when I first had my binge, and then I first made myself sick, and I was like, oh, I can just do that now. But yeah, which is a really crazy way to live. This is when it's going to get really, really deep, and not everyone knows how bad it was, but this is how it was. So I'd end up eating everything in the house, throwing it all up. I ended up having this bucket, which I'd take to my room, so I'd throw it in the bucket, and then if my parents came in, I would hide under the bed, and then I would sneak and empty in the toilet and flush it. One time, basically, My brother called me, or he heard me being sick. He came to the room to see if I was okay, and obviously quickly threw under the bed and was like, it's fine, everything's fine. And then I carried on doing it. Because the thing is, when you've got the food in you, there's this fear, you have to get it out. Sorry, it's going to be really triggering, but that's how messed up you are at the time. And yeah, so Mum came upstairs and she ended up finding it, and that's when they all found out that I was actually seriously ill and I was bulimic and stuff. And obviously they had no idea at all about eating disorders, because nobody does if you've never had one. How can you relate to it? So yeah, that was quite difficult times. Basically I ended up just getting worse. I progressed from my parents obviously being really frustrated, and then I ended up basically going into town, food, and then I ended up basically spending all my money, and ended up stealing my parents' money to go and buy loads of food and throw up. I'd starve all day and then I'd go mad. I'd do it in college as well, in my second year, which is why I ended up just leaving college in the end, because I couldn't focus anymore. What's the point? I was doing that, I was going into basically any restaurant I could find, to be sick in the public toilets. It's weird when I think about it, but that's how obsessed I was with wanting to look a certain way. But then I felt like it kind of went past that. It was then like a self-sabotage thing, where all my insecurities took over, I guess. I didn't even fully know why, because it might not even be anything to do with that. I just think I was just really obsessed with eating disorder, and it was triggered, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse, and I couldn't stop it. That's what it was. I ended up basically resorting to stealing. Started stealing my parents' money, which I felt really bad about, and then I kind of really tried to stop doing that. So I used to just go around stealing food all the time at shops. However, I did get stopped. I went into the shop to steal in the morning, and then my dumbass decided to go back in the afternoon, and they had spotted me in the morning, so they recognised me as soon as I walked in, so I just got stopped by security guards, and then the police were called. I wasn't arrested or anything though, because I don't have a criminal record, and I explained to them the situation. I'm just really ill right now and I'm doing dumb stuff, and they kind of just got it and let me off. So yeah, fun times. I remember within those months, it was all just a bit of a blur, to be honest. I remember I'd just be in my room. What I ended up doing, my parents ended up paying for a therapist, £70 an hour, ridiculous, and he was no help at all. Because obviously I knew there's something wrong with me. About when I started wanting to throw up, really. I was like, oh, this is really something wrong now. So I already was trying to get help from the therapists on the NHS and everything, and let me just tell you now, they're all useless. They have no idea about eating disorders at all. They have been educated on to deal with eating disorders. There's even some people at jobs that I've had. I was working with this girl, she's a manager, and she came in once to cover, and she used to work in NHS as a therapist, and she was like, oh yeah, the worst patients I've ever had were people who are eating disorders. There's just no help for them. They're just like they don't want to, they're so sneaky and everything. I was just like, yeah, okay, cool. Have you ever had an eating disorder? She went, no, and I was like, maybe that's why. Because the thing is, I think it always comes down to, does the individual want to help themselves? And if the answer is no, then you can't help them until they figure out for themselves that they need help. Because no matter what anyone done for me, I was not going to get better. What's the other option is to, get fat. And that was like, I didn't want that. So yeah, I was so obsessed with it, and diet culture everywhere has been like, you need to look like this, you need to look like this, you can't eat that, you'll get fat, you'll get blah, 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 blah. So that's what I was living like for ages. And I believed all the bullshit I was reading. And it's basically got to the point where I was so small, I was basically just going to die. Yeah, but it was crazy because I was basically breaking out of the house. They would lock the doors and stuff, so once I jumped out the window and ran into town to go and steal food and whatever. And so basically I ended up telling my parents we all agreed to put a lock on my door because I really wanted to get better at this point. See, something clicked in me about 2 years into this now, at the time. I just wanted to get better. I knew I was better than this, my worth's more than this. I don't need to be living like this. This is no life for me. Something just clicked and I just really wanted to get better. So they put a lock on my door, so every time I had the urge to go and binge, because I was starving, because I was so hungry, that's why I wanted to eat so much food. That's what they did. They used to lock me in my room. That's how I lived for a good few months. I was just in the house all the time. I couldn't leave my room, and they had to come and give me lunch and stuff. That's how I lived. And then one day, I came across these websites, which I'm going to get up for you right now. Well, at the time it was called Your Utopia, but it's the Eating Disorder Institute .org. I'll be linking it in the description, and also one called Let's Recover .tumblr.com. Also be linking it down below. And what happened, a light bulb just went off. Everything that they said made sense to me. I knew it wasn't just rubbish. For example, you'd feel really cold all the time, you couldn't think properly, you'd just be obsessed with food all the time. That's all I used to think about was food. That's what my life, I was just thinking about it all the time. I'll be obsessively typing in calories of things. I literally just couldn't function, that's all I thought about 24/7. How boring is that? That's all I could do. So yeah, I found this website, I found this amazing kind of community of people, because what happened there was these recovered stories of people who had followed the methods and actually recovered, and they're telling about how amazing their life is now, how they can eat whatever they want. They don't have to feel like they're not obliged to force themselves to work out all the time. So basically, I came across the website. There's 3 main steps. One is eat enough. So somebody under the age of 25 who's a male needs to eat 3,500 calories a day. You don't work out and you never weigh yourself, and to this day I don't weigh myself. So what I did, I ended up eating 3,500 calories a day, every day, regardless of how I felt. And no therapist involved, done it all myself. And basically the therapists were the people on this website, because there's a few people you could talk to. And I always remember her, Sarah Frances Young. She has a YouTube channel, I'll link it. Weird story, kind of had this little tiff, me and her, so we don't really talk and I don't follow her or anything. She just has a way about going around things sometimes which is quite rude, and I just don't agree with it all the time, and it rubs up the wrong way. But, however, having said all this, I still really appreciate her and what she's done for many people, and I'll never forget her help. What happened from her, I ended up basically gaining weight and following the steps, because bottom line, what I found is that your body, everyone's body, has a natural weight set point where so your body will gain up to weight from, if you're like really below weight, to a certain point, and whether you do it won't go any higher unless you have medication which makes you gain weight, unless you have a binge eating disorder, and which is a complete opposite spectrum of anorexia and restrictive eating disorders. If you have a binge eating disorder, then yeah, that's a whole different kettle of fish. So yeah, you're basically eating your emotions, essentially, and that's why all the hatred and low self-worth, whatever's happened to you in your life, you're eating it. So obviously it doesn't apply to me. People who restrict eating disorders are scared to get fat, and they think they've got a binge eating disorder. Because basically what happened, there's this thing called extreme hunger, which, because you're so hungry and you've starved yourself for many months, many years, your body's needs like a surplus of calories to recover. To build muscle up, to build your bone density back up, because even your mind shrinks when you're anorexic by like 30%, so even your mind needs to get functioning in. Basically, the binging that I felt when I was bulimic is because my body was so hungry all the time, so I needed to just give into it. So I ate everything, and I didn't throw up. I ate everything for about 2 months, just binging every single day. Yeah, I gained weight, and then eventually still eating whatever I wanted, and the binging calmed down. I didn't want to eat everything all the time. Yeah, I just started eating normally like I do now, and my body turned into this, and I stopped. And that's the reality of it. Once you push through the fear of getting fat, the majority of people's weights on the BMI scale fall between, I think it's like 21 to 30 or 35 or something. And so the majority of people are on the BMI scale are like 21 to 30, 35, something like that. The majority of people's weights are in between there, naturally, without diet culture, without any bullshit. That's just how everyone is. And the BMI scale is complete garbage. Don't even buy into it, don't even look into it. I wouldn't even weigh yourself, full stop. We have to be really aware of our mental health and our physical health, and how everyone out there is spewing bullshit 24/7. Everyone has a natural weight set point. I eat whatever I want, and I work out when I feel like it, and if I don't feel like it, I don't. That's the one thing I still struggle with the most, is the exercise addiction. I stopped exercising about a month into my recovery, and then it kind of gradually came back, and even now I still kind of fight with it. Still, everyone has their bad days. Even if I didn't have an eating disorder in the past, I'd still be having bad days about something, you know what I mean? But most of my days are fine. I'm absolutely fine now. I'm confident in myself. I'm quite confident in how I look. Yeah, I feel like I'm just like everyone else. Like, yeah, I'm not amazingly happy with my stomach area. That's it. Which is like everyone, but I'm very content with everything else. I'm very happy now. For the best I've ever felt in my life has been how I am right now. So I can't, stress enough how worth it recovery is. So I just feel for me it's really important to share my story, share my experience, share what I know. So I've just gone onto the website, and then for those people who are like health freaks and think you are what you eat and you have to eat healthy to be healthy. Well, just a little thing, you are not what you eat, you are not your diet, it is not your identity. If you are what you eat, imagine all the crap we breathe in every day, the pollute from cars, spray from our vegetables, everything we touch in a day, then touch our smartphone, then touch our mouth. We are dirty, and there's no way to escape that. And it goes on to say, I'm not saying you should stop eating bananas and start only eating donuts. What I'm saying is that you will not get dirty or sick by consuming not clean foods. I had the exact same idea as you. It is not about health, it is about control. It is a mental disorder. If you cared about your health, you would not have a disease called an eating disorder within the first place. And also, what about your mental health? That's very true, it's not always about your physical health. And so I will also say that when I was really ill, there are certain things exchanged between me and my family, which obviously I won't go into because I guess they're just personal. But this is why I think it's so important to educate people, as many people as you can, so that if your loved one or anyone does go through an eating disorder, you kind of have more of an idea of what to do and how better to handle the situation. Because the person's suffering, so they don't need to be negatively spoken to or critiqued, they just need help. So I was going to say, just for little facts for you guys, because a lot of people are like, I heard that it was 2,500 calories for a guy. That's all crap. That's I think I've got it up here as for the facts. It's an intake, it's self-reported. Most people underestimate the intake, but most ED people, eating disordered people, overestimate. And also I believe the BMI scale and everyone else is all created by diet cultured freaks, basically. This is what I mean. People are like, oh, but it's the doctor. Oh, but it's this, but it's that. Doesn't mean they're right. Basically, the average person actually eats 3,500 calories a day if you're a guy under the age of 25, and if you're a girl under the age of 25, you should be eating 3,000 calories a day. That's just what an average person eats, without thinking about it. And obviously, everyone's different. It depends on your height, depends on your size, naturally. For example, if you're 6'1", you're going to be eating a bit more than a 5-foot person. Just naturally, without you thinking about it, without you trying to control what you're eating, just what happens naturally. I know for a fact now, I easily eat about 3,500 calories a day. My brother said himself he probably eats about 4,000. But also he's always been quite naturally active and not forced, he just enjoys it. I was going to say, because I keep talking about under 25, well, when you're over 25, your body naturally eats a little bit less, only because you're fully developed then, and you're fully grown. So usually if you have an eating disorder, which a lot of people do when they're older, it's not just a young person, disease. When you're usually over the age of 25, they get fed to follow the guidelines for over 25s, which is 3,000 for a man, 2,500 for a female. So some more information on why the average person actually eats more than the recommended bullcrap diet, cultured crap guidelines. It just goes on to say the guidelines that I just said to you, 3,000, whatever, they're based on hard data listed in double-labelled water method trials, which I'm not 100% sure how they're done, but I think they somehow get the calories from normal people, but people who don't have eating disorders. Normal people just eat whatever they want, then they don't, it doesn't affect them. They basically do something to their stomach, and so they can calculate how many calories they actually eat every day without them saying how much, because everyone always usually underestimates. So yeah, actually they eat more than the silly guidelines. The reason the minimum intakes are set to this level, because that's the minimum 3,000, the ones that I just said to you, they're minimums. You're actually expected to eat even more than that. Some people have eaten like 10,000 calories in a sitting. Well, I said to you that during hunger phase I was eating at least 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day. So it says the intake guidelines are set lower than many inpatient and residential treatment centres for those with eating disorders, because you cannot restore an energy deficit in the body by merely eating as an energy balanced person might do. Because what I just said to you, those guidelines, is what actually an energy balanced, a normal person eats. Because when you have an eating disorder, of course, you're not energy balanced, you're extremely starving, you're extremely low in calories, so you're in a deficit. Right, so I've realised I've had to write some notes for this video. So yeah, I'm just going to read from the notes on my phone, some parts of it. So fat people are not always fat from food consumption, and if they are, they most likely have a binge eating disorder, or their bodies are naturally fluctuating upwards due to other reasons such as stress, sleep deprivation, and a big one is medication, such as birth control pills, loads of things. It's not always black and white food consumption. And if it is, they should get the help, they should get the right help and not be taken the piss out of by slimmer individuals. Also, some individuals are naturally overweight and obese, just like some individuals are naturally very slim. However, people don't fuss as much over the naturally slim individuals as our society is so fatphobic. Also, complete bullcrap that obesity causes high risk of diabetes and cholesterol. And the thing is, because our society is so obsessed with demonising people who are above a certain weight, there are so many other factors that can make you have diabetes and cholesterol. And there's so many slim individuals I know who are diabetic and have cholesterol, and there's so many obese and overweight people I know who have no cholesterol, no diabetes, and are absolutely fine. For example, there's a recent scandal with that Julian Michaels and Lizzo. She's calling her that her body shouldn't be celebrated, you know, she's fat, whatever. I'm insinuating because she's fat, she's automatically unhealthy and gonna die, and you know, and all because Julian Michaels was basically just some really insecure, skinny white bitch who has lived her entire life trying to fit into a societal ideal by starving herself, crazy dieting, constant workouts all the time, all because she thinks if she gets fat she's going to be unattractive. Which is why I'm so thankful for Lizzo currently, because she's really changing the game for people, like really changing the game. But yeah, I also think it's very important for people to understand their privilege as a slim individual. For example, I'm naturally slim, so slim thick, I like to think. But you know, so I fully understand that if I was naturally overweight, it'd be hard for me because I'd be judged more by society. Because if a slim person goes out and buys a chocolate bar, nobody really thinks about it. If a fat person goes out and buys a chocolate bar, they get judged about it. Just the way society is. And it needs to change, and it angers me. However, that is still just sadly the society that we currently live in. I was gonna get up some facts about like obesity and why it's you know, because a lot of times people are like, oh, but it's on the increase, it's, you know, everyone's getting obese. It's like, well, first of all, where are they? Because I don't really see loads of obese people come around all the time, which just shows it's probably just diet culture making up crazy bullshit for us to go and waste all our money on diet products. The rates of smoking simultaneously went down as weight went higher. As a lot of people know, smoking suppresses the appetite. So yeah, so when people stop smoking, that they started eating normally, and their weights probably went up to where they should have been. That's another thing that's happened recently. That's what I mean. There's so many like saturated fats. They don't affect you negatively or positively. They're just fats. They don't increase your risk of heart disease or anything. And the entire study that found out that saturated fat was bad for you, I can't remember what it was now. Basically, they ended up making up the data just to go with their study and their outcome, and the study came out, and then everyone brought into it, the media, and ended up saying everything like cheese is gonna make you die of heart attack, blah blah blah. When it's actually been debunked now. Other people went and done the study again in France because they're notorious for eating loads of cheese and everything, and actually their rates of heart disease and heart attacks weren't that high at all, and from high cholesterol or whatever it was. So basically the guy ended up lying and making it all up, and everyone believed it, and so some people even now are still freaked out about saturated fats, and actually it's all complete crap. It's just a study who the guy basically didn't do properly, and just said that this is the outcome, and everyone believed it. So yeah, fun fact. I think the main overall conclusion would be you have one life to live. You want to be your happiest and healthiest self, and that looks different on a lot of people. And for me, that's not engaging in diet culture, eating wherever I want, exercising whenever I want, which I'm still working on. You know, none of us are perfect. We've all got issues we're trying to deal with. Yeah. everything I've spoken about all been linked down below. Some amazing people that you should follow on your social medias to get all the positivity. I always remember this interesting quote being like, if somebody who you know allows you to eat whatever you want and doesn't question it, accepts people for however they look, whatever, and you know, keep them people close, because they're not that many in this day and age. So and I'm very much like that. If somebody's going around and being fat phobic towards people, being like, oh, look at them, or they're like, oh, they ain't lot there, or that, I'll just bye. I can't be dealing with that uneducated dumb crap. And you know, you get so many like really like superficial, insecure people being like, I only want people if they have like abs and a huge dick, and it's like, oh please, you know, don't be so immature and so superficial. First of all, that ideal perfect individual doesn't exist, and you're not even the full package yourself, so let's and whatever the full package is, do you know what I mean? It varies from person to person. So yeah, I really hope you guys found this video useful. I try my best to explain my situation, what happened to me, and how I got over it, because I basically just started following the minimums, not weighing myself, eating whatever I wanted, taking a break from exercise, and yeah, ended up turning into this bitch. And you know, it makes me laugh, because some people are sometimes like, oh Nathan, you're so savage, oh Nathan, this is like, I've got no time to waste on idiots, I've got no time to waste in my life anymore. So you need to know your worth, and only hang around with people that you know your worth, who actually like you, who are positive, who reinforce your energy. And if they don't, then cut them off. There's plenty of people in the world to be friends with, like. And you know, I'm very comfortable by myself. Like, I don't really need friends and stuff. Obviously, I do have friends, and I do love my friends. But if it came to the worst, where nobody really was nice to me or benefited me, I really wouldn't care. So yeah, this is why I'm so savage now, and because I like myself, and I won't stand for people disrespecting me and other people who are minorities for no reason. Don't try it. Don't try it. Like and subscribe for more. Hit the bell notification to be notified when I screens a new video. And yeah, I'll see you guys next video. Bye guys. Mwah.